welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be making slow roasted tomatoes. This is something that is really good on sandwiches, antipasto platters, with eggs, on toast, with pasta. I mean, there's a billion different ways that you can use them, and it's nice to make a big batch. So if you have a block of time, because this does take several hours to bake in the oven, I do suggest doing this and then just keeping it in your fridge for when you want it. So I have a bunch of tomatoes, and then I'm going to put some olive oil on it, as well as salt, pepper. I have some dried oregano, and here in the little mug I have some dried thyme. This is the last of my thyme that I'm going to use up. So basically you're going to cut the tomatoes in half, and then you're going to line them on a sheet tray, and you can put them as close together as possible because they will shrink down. I'm using Roma tomatoes, but you can use other types of tomatoes if you'd like. As I'm cutting them in half, I am getting rid of the center core, and I'm just going to continue to do this until my sheet pan is filled. I've preheated my oven to 250. So let me get this cut up, and then I will explain how the rest will go. So because there was a lot of glare from the sun, I did move over to the kitchen table just so that you could see a bit better. Now, if your tomatoes are a bit out of season, or maybe they're not that sweet, they need a little extra help, you can put the slightest pinch of sugar. Just sprinkle it over, and that'll be fine. But to this, I'm going to put some salt, and I mean, you know, I'm going to season them. So I'm going to do salt, pepper, and then my herbs and a drizzle of olive oil. And my oven is ready, so it's just kind of waiting for me. The other thing I would recommend is having a small mason jar, and that's to store them after. So these are going to shrink down tremendously, and you know, try to squeeze them on your baking sheet because they will definitely reduce at least half its size, possibly more, and they're going to be in the oven for at least, I'm going to say 6 hours, but probably a little bit more. And as the day progresses, I will kind of show you what to look for. And these are really great though to have on hand, just because they are so delicious. So my dried herbs, and I do prefer using dried for this. I do want to crush them up so it just kind of releases the flavor, and basically, you know, sprinkle it as evenly as possible, but they end up all going in a jar, and you know, it's not going to matter in the end, but try to get a little bit on each piece of tomato. You can use other herbs such as marjoram, or if you have like an Italian herb blend, that's fine. And then I'm just using regular olive oil, and then later when I jar it, I'll probably add some extra virgin. And as this cooks, it's going to release some juice too, but that's why you want it cut side up. So now that these are all seasoned and cozy on a sheet tray, they're going to bake in the oven for hours and get really delicious. So this is a little over 4 hours. It still has a way to go. So I know I initially said about 6 hours, but it's probably going to be closer to 7.5 or 8 hours. But they're looking really good right now. I want to continue to let them slow roast in the oven. Hopefully they'll be done before I need to start dinner. This is after 9 hours of being in the oven. So as you can see, my sheet tray was basically tomato right next to each other, and now they have shrunk a lot. So I basically want to put this in a mason jar. I have a small mason jar that I'm going to try and fit all of them in, and then I'm going to pour some oil over it. If you can sterilize your jar, I would suggest doing that. Now, I don't have a dishwasher. You can sterilize them via the dishwasher because the temperature gets hot enough. And then there's another way that you could probably do it in the oven. For me, since I'm just doing one, I filled this with water, and then and it is clean, but I did put it in the microwave, and it got hot enough that this should be good right now. So I'm just going to layer my tomatoes in, and I'm going to push them down on top of each other because that is the way that they're going to fit. If they're tightly packed together, that is absolutely fine. So I still need to put several more in here, but I just want to let you know, as your jar is filling up, all you have to do is push it down. I'm going to use the backup spoon for this, and it will create more space. And I just want to show you a close-up because it is really, really beautiful how it turns out. And then once I have it covered, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this out for a little bit until it cools completely, and then I'll go ahead and store it in the fridge. And as I mentioned before, you can use this a bunch of different ways. You can do it in a frittata. You can I've already mentioned sandwiches. You could do pizza topped with it. You can, a lot. You can do a lot. I would say this may keep maybe for a couple of weeks. This isn't like professionally sealed, but it can last for a little while. This is something to do when you have a block of time or maybe a whole day. This was in the oven for me for about 9 hours, and it probably even could have gone a little bit longer, but I felt like it was enough. So if you are self-quarantining and you're just going out for necessities such as grocery shopping, FYI, I did get my tomatoes at Sprouts. They were like 79 cents a pound, so the price is pretty good. You can grab a bag full and do this at home. This is different from sun-dried tomatoes. Sun-dried tomatoes I like, but I like these way better. It has a bit of a fresher taste, whereas I feel that sun-dried tomatoes are kind of just not as tasty. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I will have some details down below in the description box if you are interested in making it yourself. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.